Vishwani Deva Savita Duitani Parasu Yadbhadyam Tannasu. Om Shanti Shanti. Oh, Namaste. I am here to speak on Arya Samaj movement in North America. I am so excited to see this title at the outset. Must congratulate the organizers, session chairs, for having used the term movement rather than an organization or a religious body or a temple. Many people call Arya Samaj as a Arya Samaj Mandir nowadays. It's a wonderful term and it motivates us to think, move forward. Let's look at the next slide. The title is Two Dipoles. So I think you have moved 2 slides. If you could go back, please. Yeah. This is, the title is Arya Samaj. Somehow on this laptop, my top line is converting into Devanagari script. So I will read out what actually I meant, but I think there is not much confusion. The title is here, Arya Samaj, which is not a faith-based sectarian religion. That's what most of the religions are, which are in multiple numbers. They have at least one or more of certain ideas, dogmas, whatever you call them, which is difficult to rationalize. So they take a course to what we call faith. And we must be very sure that Arya Samaj is not one of that kind of a religion. It was founded, yes, it was founded by Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati, 1875. But just because it was founded, it is not as old as, say, 140 years, because his objective was to take the entire humanity back to the root, namely the Vedas, which has no timeline as such, but what we want to see that we are connected to what is called Vedic Dharma, and not quite a religious body as such. But of course, like I am here on a religious visa, so these kind of documents, because the government and the people at large on the state don't quite know what the term dharma is. So we have to make certain compromises at certain times. But in our own community, we should be very clear that we are representatives of Vedic Dharma, which is based on the Vedas. The word Ved is also very interesting. It literally means knowledge, and I give a very simple example, Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a very well-known term, a compound word made out of the 2 terms Ayu and Veda. Ayu means lifespan and Ved means knowledge. So Ayurveda technically means life sciences, medical sciences that elongates our lifespan. As you would expect, we need knowledge of both kinds because in the world exists matter and spirit both. So we need material knowledge to make use of all the things that exist in the world. And we also need spiritual knowledge for human beings to uplift their quality of life. And that's what Vedas consist of. Maharishi Dayananda says it has spiritual knowledge at its summit, at the peak level, and material knowledge is at the seed level, which we are expected to evolve with time and make further. Let's see that in the next slide. I'm trying to say that, trying to bring out the case that Vedas are relevant at all times. Giving you an example of 2 dipoles. One is a pair formed by our eyes and the sun. If my eyes are not functional, I am blind, even if the sun is shining. And other way around, if I am blind, if my eyes are functioning but there is no sun, then also it is utter blindness for me. Either way, the dipole must work with both the components of the pair functional. And when it comes to the eyes and the sun, It is relevant not only for the humans, all the conscious beings, animals, birds, etc. Now we go slightly inward, very specific to human beings. We have what is called intellect, called buddhi, sat asat vivekvati buddhi, that has discriminating ability to distinguish between right and wrong, good and bad, pap and punya, dharma and adharma and all this. Animals are not concerned with these kind of dualities. They are born with embedded knowledge, what is called instinct. We have very tiny amount of instinct. We rely on our intellect capability. So that is our inner eyes, and for that dipole to function, Paramatma gives us the Vedas, the sun of the knowledge. So that forms another dipole very relevant for humans and for humans alone. But just like we will say, even though we have produced all kinds of light sources, nobody in the world will say that the sun is no more relevant. In the same spirit, we have created all kinds of body of literatures, but we should never think of the idea that Vedas will not be relevant. That will always be relevant. Let's move further. Look at the current world scene. This is slightly different from Maharishi Dayanand's scene in 140 years ago, when he was functioning in India, which is a deeply religious country, while we are in now United States of America, and the world has moved forward. Today we call it the age of science. And we can, very objectively looking, the humanity can be divided in two large groups, namely science and religion. Let's put some broad parameters. The people who are on the left side of the globe, namely science side, they treat the entire world as if it has come out of matter alone. Even our consciousness is resultant of chemistry that is taking place in my brain, which is made of material particles. On the other hand, the people who follow religions, they think, maybe they have the faith, whatever it is, they think that there exists matter as well as some kind of spiritual particle or principle or whatever it is. Matter and spirit are coexisting in this universe. On the science side, they believe in law of cause and effect. There is a logical and rational way of thinking and coming to a conclusion based on certain evidences, certain repeatability in their laboratories, and all kinds of things which are well accepted by all the fraternity of scientists wherever they are. It is logical and rational. Therefore, it is universal. A scientist in America, a scientist in Europe, in India, Japan, they have a convergent view on certain major thinking patterns. And it is unifying force that all of us are benefiting from mobile phones, computers, transportation systems. It is a very strong unifying force. And Maharishi Dayanand was always for scientific advancement. If we look on the other side of the globe, the religion and faith-based group of people, they do think they have matter and spirit, but they are not necessarily always on logical course of action. They take a course to what is called faith. When they raise their hands, they just say, we believe in it. And that being the case, there are different religions, sectarian. That is very important. Don't want to digress too much, limitation of time, but you will notice that when dharma declined in India about 5,000 years ago, due to the Mahabharata and all those kind of events, then only religions came into picture. So dharma, and indeed in our vocabulary, we don't quite have a suitable word for religion. We use all kinds of words, sampradaya, pantha, matmatanta, but these are not quite reflecting what is called a faith-based sectarian religion. This is very peculiar to non-Indian thinking, because the concept of religion and faith is quite foreign to Indian culture, though a typical Indian is now calling himself Hindu, Muslim, is Christian, etc. So, being the multiple religions, it is of course sectarian. There is becomes a divisive force, and you know it better than I know. Any day's newspaper, all kinds of conflicts and even wars are mostly due to between the groups of two and different religions. So that is the situation that is prevailing today. Let's move to the next slide. And fortunately, this is Age of Science, that is the title. This is Age of Science. And we are in one of the most beautiful times that we are living here, where we see that intelligent young people, they are mostly renouncing their religions. And we see that those who call themselves atheists, communists, whatever it is, they turn out to be better human beings than followers of religion. That is what is generally seen in the society. They are more honest, they are more hardworking, they are more reliable and trustworthy, and so. And what is happening in, say, IAS and all that, anybody will put himself on shame. And intelligent people, typically the young people, they are renouncing religion. So there is a transfer of human being from the religion side to the science side. And indeed, there is a class of people, they call themselves SBNR. They are going a step further, though they have renounced their religion, they have a sense of spirituality, they see some sort of a force and some sort of inner feeling. They call themselves, I am spiritual but not religious. They call themselves SBNR. So these are wonderful times for us to function. And when we look at the age of science, and even great scientists admit that, and one of the finest minds are working on these riddles, these are three principal questions. Where does our consciousness come from? What is our ultimate seat of consciousness? Is it this big body like head, which is going through changes in its cells, but I have a sense of constancy. I am the same person I was 20 years ago, and my brain cells have changed greatly, but I have not changed. I am the same human being. So these are very difficult questions. Scientists, neuroscientists, neurologists, and all kinds of scientists are working on. And how world came into being, of course there is a so-called theory of evolution, but there are a lot of unanswered questions there also. And most importantly, what is the purpose of this world? Why does it exist? Why do we exist? What is the purpose of life, particularly that of human life, which is quite unsaturated? Whatever I get, I again seek more and more. I have no end where I can feel I am a totally happy person. Nobody says he is a totally happy person. Everybody has a sense of vacuum within it. So these are very difficult questions, and that is what makes Arya Samaj, Vedic spiritual science, very relevant. Next slide, please. This is the title is Vedic spiritual science, or you may be used to call it Vedic philosophy, whatever it is. I look at it now as a Vedic spiritual science, which is quite comprehensive. I say it consists of so-called unified theory, which can explain the matter and spirit, the way it functions, how does it come into being, what is their purpose, and where do we go from here, who sent us here and why, and where will we go from here. All these difficult questions, we have to be humble. We cannot say we have the final answers, but we have reasonably good answers which are consistent, that at least guide me into the world to lead a more purposeful, meaningful, and even enjoyable life. I can enjoy life more if I rely on Vedic spiritual science. I like to say that this probably is the future of the modern science. We may have to wait for some time, but just sitting and waiting won't work. We have to work hard, and harder we work, sooner will it come. So that is, I look at Vedic spiritual science as the future of the modern science, and I see a good possibility that they will accept, though the concepts of Atma, Paramatma are quite notional, quite difficult, non-material, Vayu Anilam Ammitam, Anil is meaning non-material. It's very difficult to envisage what that soul is, which is non-material. But the modern scientist is working on very probabilistic methods where things are quite vague, and they are willing to accept vague ideas, though so as to explain the reality that is real in front of us. I want to single out Patanjali Yoga Sutra for a very simple reason that it consists of both theoretical and experimental branch of Vedic spiritual science. It consists of theoretical part in nutshell, and it describes a method how you can validate the key principles, key Vedic principles of Vedic spiritual science, and in so doing, you learn the Vedic principles experientially. Otherwise, for example, I like to say, last night we had, say, gulab jamun. If I just say this is gulab jamun, looks like this, and you can make it like this, I give you a colored photos of 200 pages, and you have read the book, but unless you have eaten it, you will never say, I know the gulab jamun. That is what is the truth, and I want to forcefully say it in this gathering that Arya Samajis have this kind of misunderstanding. They think they know about Atma and Paramatma very well, having read Satyat Prakash and many books. But I must say, and indeed when I became Vedic missionary, that was my strength. But as it happens, teaching others is a good way of learning. So in the last few years, I learned a lot. What I learned was, when I started my career as a Vedic scientist, Vedic missionary, I was very hollow. I got my learning actually in the practicing mode of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. This is very, very important for every Arya Samaji to go through the process of Patanjali Yoga. Maharishi Dayananda is writing hundreds and hundreds times, Yoga Abhyas, Yoga Abhyas, Yoga Abhyas, Upasana and Upasana. So that is where we are very, very weak. We have to strengthen ourselves. Otherwise, we have no business to spread Vedic spiritual science. We will not succeed unless we live according. So Patanjali Yoga Sutra is very important. It helps you validate, not you only, whoever is practicing it, the key Vedic principles and gain the experiential learning. And the beauty is, from day one, it improves the quality of your life. So this is a wonderful package we have to gift it to every member of the humanity. That's what I want to say again. Vedic spiritual science elevates life of every human being. Let's go to the next slide. Gee, I don't know what was the title here. Yeah. It has gone upside down totally. A case study. A case study in England 2010 to 2012 to 2014. That is the title. A case study in England 2012 to 2014. I am very proud of part of being this experimental process where we were working among young people, university students, age group even 16 plus. So there was 116, otherwise mostly 18 plus. Our target was young people, and that is another unfortunate situation, because if I go with the banner of Arya Samaj, a man on the street will misunderstand me as if I am another person representing another religion. So I had to found another body that I called as Center for Inner Sciences, and we are very honest. On our website we say that we are taking inspiration from the Vedas. We also say that our guideline is 10 principles of Arya Samaj, so on and so forth. So we are not hiding anything, but we are saying, please don't misunderstand us as another sectarian religion. We are talking pure science, spiritual science and material science, all integrated into one Vedic spiritual science. That's the website. This being the banner, our package, in a marketing terminology I am saying, our package was what we call Patanjali Meditation. And we made two levels, beginner's level and advanced level. At beginner's level, my objective was the person has come, he believes only in the matter and only in the brain, not even in the mind. Nowadays, even psychologists are talking more about brain than about mind. So I had a difficult game. So we start with the body only, but we build up the story. At the end of the beginner's level, since he is practicing meditation, since he goes to those quiet moments of mind, yoga chitta vritti nirodha, when मन में जो भी कोई भी हलचल नहीं है, he has seen that moment. He has seen the moments when the mind is calm, quiet, still and blank. But he is left with some awareness. He is in conscious mode. So he wants to define that. What is that state? And that I say, that is your consciousness. And that being the case, he accepts the idea that yes, we are a composite of body, mind, and soul. And then we take him he graduates to the advanced level, where we use the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, including Ishwar Pranidhan, etc. And he comes to a point that he concludes, yes, there is God, soul, and matter. We don't use the word God, we use the word Ishwar, because we heavily rely on the concept of Ishwar Pranidhan. And then I have seen these young men and women saying that what you are talking is pure spiritual science. So that is, we are able to make them say. Next slide, please. You will see, now I am here, but the classes are going on in England, and they are the teachers. Arun Taylor, born in New Jersey, but somehow moved to London. Now he's teaching Patanjali Meditation. This is Lee Henry. Next slide. I'm very proud of this Joel Crowley. That's why I devoted 2 slides to him. I love him more than my sons probably, but I shouldn't say that. He's a wonderful boy, Joel Crowley. I love him a lot. Okay, next slide. I just put a list because we have now 10 to 12 qualified teachers, and this is our one evening gathering. Inigo, then Arun Taylor, then Nigel, Liz, Debbie 1, Debbie 2, then I am in the deep corner there, then Joel Crowley, Toby Hall, Bethany Slynn. Some of these names are there, and they are teaching Patanjali meditation in England these days. And there is this Miriam Shalini, who was a German, who went back to Germany. Now she is teaching in Holland. So the next slide, you will see. So that's the beauty of the thing. If you have educated some people, they do better than what you are doing. Just like Einstein cannot teach physics at the high school level, somebody else can teach at high school level much better. So I have seen it. These people are teaching Patanjali meditation at beginner's level much better than I was teaching them. Because they can relate to them. That is the beauty. So since I left, they have added University of Manchester, and they have added a Holland Center, Maastricht, because of Miriam Shalin. So the moral of the story is, when we discuss the future Arya Samaj movement in North America, I see the moral of the story is, you don't do everything yourself, you teach others to do that. And that is what, you produce Vedic missionaries in America, they will do much better than what you will be doing. Because in 25 years, we have come to this point. In next 10 years, they can do much more than what we have done in 25 years, provided we teach them how to do it. That is the challenge we have, and I think we can meet the challenge. We are at the right place at the right time. Let's look at the next slide. The title is Right Place and Right Time. We are in the United States of America. I came here first time 1974, Princeton, New Jersey. And sure, almost everybody will accept this is land of abundance, land of opportunities. There are a lot of Indian people here. If they continue to remain in India, most of their time and energy will go to fight with the negative forces. But they are here at the right place, where they have blossomed as one of the most pioneering, enterprising community in the world. The Indians in America, they have made the East and West meet beautifully. So this is the right place, and that is the catch here. They are humble people. They also know it. They are not the happiest people. That is where they recognize that something is missing, and that is what Vedic spiritual science can give it to them, provided we follow the principles of marketing principles properly and work hard in a teamwork. They are very open-minded people. I recently went to a government office here, 7:30. Dineshji took me there, and the office, those employees were there since 7 o'clock. Can you imagine in India, people working from 7 in the morning, and they are honest people, they are hardworking, they work in team spirit. So all the wonderful human qualities are here. Nothing is lacking. And they are willing to accept. They are not the happiest people. They are open-minded. They are willing to listen to you if you have something sensible to say. And if we show some result here, it will have the impact in the entire world, isn't it? So this is the right place, the right time, and we have to just work. Next slide, please. I am losing time in reverse engineering. What was my title? Let's forget about the title, whatever it was. What I'm saying is our program of action. Oh, yeah. I should not forget it. The title is Arya Samaj Houston Moves Ahead. Arya Samaj Houston Moves Ahead. That is the title. Of course, we are here, and most of us will accept the fact that Arya Samaj Houston is one of the leading Arya Samaj. If not the leading, it is one of the most pioneering Arya Samaj in the world. And it is a wonderful mechanism. 2 schools which prepares the small children, and when they grow up, they become part of our managing committee, and their fathers, their parents, and all. It is a wonderful mechanism to add on. So I am very proud to say that. I'm very proud to say that just in the right time. They could have waited for a couple of more weeks, but just early this week, they decided to act on certain proposals. What they decided is, yes, we will make Patanjali Meditation as the package and go to outside of the walls of the Arya Samaj. Anybody who is interested in listening, we will give them the message. So Patanjali Meditation 4-month course is starting here from Wednesday 26th August and Saturday 29th August. So we have, and it is via webinar. So it is not limited by space, so to say, because we are using modern technology. So we have chosen 2 timings so that we cover the entire globe. If we do it Wednesday evening, it is Thursday morning in India, Thursday morning in Singapore and Australia. And when we do Saturday morning, it covers the California up to India. Everywhere it is Saturday morning to the Saturday evening. So it covers the entire globe in 2 batches. And of course, those who are here around Houston, they can attend in person. Those who are away from it. So you might have got in your welcome package a flyer on Patanjali Meditation. Otherwise, it is lying outside. Please pick up. You may consider and benefit from it and pass it on to anybody who can benefit from it. This will be, at this point, I look at it, this will be an attempt to produce first batch of teachers from Arya Samaj itself. So we will produce first batch of teachers of Patanjali Meditation who has gone through this 4-month course, and I call it 101 course. Then next spring we will give 102 course, and one who has completed 4 + 4, 8-month course will become a qualified, like we have 12 teachers in England, we will have many more in the worldwide. And then, the proposal is still under consideration of Arya Samaj Houston, but I will not be surprised if they take a decision to even open not only DAV Sanskriti School, DAV Montessori, one DAV Gurukul as well. And when they do it, this will become a production house of Vedic missionaries in due course. So that's the way we look at it in the future. Next slide. As we go into Patanjali meditation, usko atmasat kar, we want to lead our life like that. Then only I can become a teacher of Patanjali meditation for an outsider. We have to be careful about certain things. So the title here is Books on Patanjali Yoga. I am sure many of you have seen through certain books on Patanjali Yoga. I've also seen through several books, but I must say, it is very difficult to do justice to Patanjali. Because if you were to write a book on Patanjali Yoga, You have to have a very comprehensive understanding. At least these 4 parameters are very important. A working knowledge of Sanskrit, because the original book is Yoga Sutras are in Sanskrit, but it's not quite in Sanskrit, it is called aphorism. Just like a chemical equation, C plus O2 going to CO2, looks like in Roman script, but is not quite in English. It is a chemistry language. Similarly, Patanjali's language is not quite in Sanskrit, but it is his own aphorism language. But it helps if you have some working knowledge of Sanskrit. But that itself is not enough. You have to go through those practices and lead a life. You have to become a kind of yogi to be able to understand what he's saying. So a good fluency in yoga practices is very, very important. But that also is not enough. You have to have a good understanding of his philosophy that he's trying to present in a nutshell form. So philosophy of yoga is also very important. But that also is not enough, because as we say, and that is something people in Arya Samaj know it, because yoga is one of the 6 books of Vedic philosophy, Shardasha. Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshik, Mimamsa and Vedanta. And they are just one way of argumentative build-up of the Vedic philosophy, what is contained in Vedas and Upanishads, etc. So you have to have a full understanding of the big picture of the Vedic spiritual science. Then only you can do justice to Patanjali book. The reason I am emphasizing it is I have not found a good book on Patanjali Yoga. It was a big struggle. It was very difficult to pick up one sentence of Maharishi Dayanand here, there, and combine it together. But what came handy to me was, and that is the beauty of Patanjali Yoga, as you are practicing it, you go to learn it. You have to learn it and you go on learning it. It's like Paramatma's Upasana. If you take your first step, he helps you and he makes you learn so that your second step is easier than the first step. But you have to be persistent. You don't want to give up. And that's what is very much important. I have one more slide on this kind of a caution. Next slide, please. Yeah. When we learn slightly about Patanjali Yoga, Patanjali Meditation, let us not be arrogant. Because when you go, I think the title here is the pageant yoga scene. The pageant scene, or when you go out of this room, if you tell somebody I am doing yoga, what will the other person mean? 95% people think it is Hatha Yoga, isn't it? So the Hatha Yoga is there. Now, this is a typical Arya Samaji mentality. You start lecturing him that Hatha Yoga is not yoga, Patanjali Yoga is actual yoga, and I will teach you that and that. We should not have. We are now 140 years after Maharishi Dayananda. Now, any kind of khandan is not accepted. If you say a single negative word, the person will not look at it. Not at least the Western young man. He doesn't want any negativity from anybody. You say what you know, you don't say about others' business. That is not your business. One who is teaching Hatha Yoga, he will talk about Hatha Yoga. If you claim you know Patanjali Yoga, you talk about Patanjali Yoga only. And we must be humble enough. Everything is good. Everything has its own purpose. Hatha Yoga is good for physical health, and we don't have to criticize anybody's business. Similarly, we are very late. We are late in the sense we don't even know meditation. I must say, Arya Samaj doesn't have comprehensive fluency in Patanjali Yoga and meditation. We are almost zero. When that being the case, we have no business to criticize others. And by now, there are a lot of organizations who have walked hundreds of miles ahead. We have not even walked one step. So we have to be very humble. With a great sense of humility, we have to start walking our first step. But I am very confident with some experiment I have done in England that our package is one of the best package. But if it is one of the best package, that's where it becomes responsibility. I must show that I am a better human being also. If you say Patanjali meditation is better than Vipassana, then you should be a better human being than the teacher of Vipassana meditation. If your life is not like that, you have no business to say that Patanjali meditation is better than. But theoretically speaking, I want to point out that these are kind of things which are very, very active in the market, in the mainstream. Buddhist meditation, which has almost become like what is called mindfulness meditation. They ask the newcomer to concentrate on their breathing. It is relatively easy rather than going deep in meditation, what is called dhyanam nivesham mana. Going to a blank mind is very, very difficult for a newcomer, for a beginner. It is much easier to concentrate on an event such as the breathing. So mindfulness is like, in Patanjali's terminology, I will say, it is dharana. In Ashtanga Yoga, it is yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyan and samadhi. Dharana we translate as concentration. So I will say, in my opinion, mindfulness is on concentration. That is their end. But it brings enormous benefit. There are hundreds of medical articles on mindfulness because they have worked hard for decades now. And we have done nothing. We must say that our dhyan is superior to mindfulness. It's stupid. We have to talk about it, we have to do it, we have to teach it, and then collect all kinds of database. Then we can write a single first article. We have a long way to go, but yes, theoretically speaking, what I want to point out is Patanjali meditation is more difficult. Takes you longer to become fluent in it, but once you are there, I tell you the number of benefits are enormous. A hardcore man like my wife is sitting here, I must say, 20 years ago, I never said her, I love you, but, but I say that I thought I knew what love is, but I must say, I didn't know it. Today I know what love is. All this because I went through a difficult learning of Patanjali meditation, Gayatri Upasana and these. It elevates you in a totally, it opens your inner eyes. So we have, nothing is going as far as Patanjali meditation. We can go that far, but sure, there is a lot of work, hard work, not individuals, all of us together in a team fashion. Let's go last slide. I am summarizing it. I think that joint chairs will be happy. They were going 5 minutes late, now I am making them in time. Quickly going through it, nothing new. Vedic spiritual science, I think that is the future of the modern science. It elevates every human being, irrespective of your religion, man or woman, anything. Vedaja is Tuta Maya Vada Ved. It's for everybody. The banner, I chose a banner, a secular looking banner, Center for Inner Sciences, without hiding anything. And as the things were unfolding, I was telling them that I am borrowing my ideas from Patanjali. That's why I gave the title as Patanjali Meditation. And this is what so many things Patanjali is teaching. You may be interested in knowing it. And then I one day said, Patanjali Yoga is one of the 6 books of Vedic philosophy. And this is what Vedas, Gayatri Mantra, all that is about. Package is Patanjali Meditation to start with. It helps you learn the key principles of Vedic philosophy and experientially learn it, which has a deeper meaning. And from day one, it improves the quality of your life. Patanjali Meditation goes much beyond Hatha Yoga, mindfulness, or anything that is in the market. But we have a hard work to take it in steps. Every Arya, so this is why important in the Arya Samaj, because Arya Samajis are very weak in Upasana. You need it more than anybody else needs. Thank you very much.